You've survived another month. Attaboy, Tiger. Not only are you just a day away from discovering which new puppy of the month will make their debut on the kitchen calendar, but that sweet, sweet spending plan is about to roll over for the month, replenishing all your sad, spent categories and bringing much needed new life to that spending plan. Yes, sir, it's monthly rollover time, and if you're new to YNAB or you've always just wondered, should I be doing something special at the end of the month? The answer, kinda. The practices we do to wrap up a month are really the same practices we do in YNAB all month long, with just a few extra good to knows thrown in here and there. That being said, there are really just 3 steps to wrap up the old and welcome the new. Update your accounts, adjust the current month, and look ahead to the new month. The very first thing we're gonna do is update our accounts. We're gonna kick this step right off by making sure any spending or earning we did in the final days of the month have been entered into YNAB. If you've got your accounts linked and you see any pending transactions up top, go ahead and enter them now, leaving them uncleared. If you made a purchase today or yesterday that just hasn't hit the bank yet, again, enter it uncleared. Now, why is that? Sometimes pending transactions at the end of a month won't actually be cleared by the bank until the early days of the next month. You buy groceries on August 31st, but the bank doesn't actually clear the transaction until September 2nd. When that transaction does eventually clear, it will clear for the date that the transaction began pending, August 31st. If that transaction caused any overspending in August, but you're already happily existing in your spending plan for September, it's gonna be so easy to let that overspending in August go entirely unnoticed, and you're gonna miss your opportunity to cover that overspending. By entering the pending transaction now uncleared, it gives you a chance to deal with any overspending that transaction may have caused now before the month rolls over. A little tip on entering these end of the month transactions early though, always make sure you're confident the total of the transaction won't change before entering it into your budget. Watch out for those sneaky Amazon orders that get split up into multiple shipments and charged separately, or restaurant tabs whose tips haven't been added to the total yet. In these scenarios, rather than entering a transaction early, you can also just ensure that whatever category the transaction will be categorized to has enough money to cover whatever the final total might be. Unnoticed overspending sidestepped once again. Now that all the transactions we know of have been added in for the month, we're gonna kick off the reconciliation process for each of our budget accounts. If you already know the drill on how reconciliation works and want to skip ahead to the next step, you can move on to step 2 at this timestamp. It's listed somewhere over here. But if you'd like a little refresher on how and why we reconcile, take a seat, here we go. When we reconcile, we're ensuring that the cleared balance at the bank matches the cleared balance in YNAB, which is just a really good practice to establish before hopping into a new month, making sure every dollar is accounted for. Let's go ahead and start by clicking Reconcile. Now, if you've set up your accounts in YNAB as linked accounts and your cleared YNAB balance matches your cleared bank balance, you're gonna get a reconciliation screen looking like this, saying, "Great news, your current bank balance matches your cleared YNAB balance." This is awesome. From here, click Looks Good, and YNAB will change the cleared status on all these transactions to little green locks, symbolizing that these transactions have been reconciled and you no longer need to worry about them. But if YNAB notices that your cleared bank balance doesn't match your cleared YNAB balance, or you have your account set up in YNAB as unlinked, you'll get a pop-up more like this. If your accounts are unlinked, this balance could actually still be accurate, so double check with your banking app. If the two totals do match up, click yes, this is my current bank balance. But whether you have linked accounts or unlinked accounts, if the balances don't match up, click no and tell YNAB what the bank says your cleared balance really is. When you hit next, YNAB will show you the difference it's detected between what you told it your bank balance is and your cleared YNAB balance. Hit next again, and now we can do some investigating to figure out what might be causing this difference. Do you have a transaction or two that didn't get cleared when they should have? Maybe you accidentally recorded the same transaction to 2 different accounts. I do that all the time. Or entered a wrong total, maybe forgot to enter a transaction altogether. Investigate to see if you can figure out what might be causing the difference. If you can get the total on the blue banner back down to 0, that means your YNAB balance is in agreement with your bank and you can finish reconciling. Now, if you've done a deep dive and you just cannot for the life of you figure out why the balances don't match, click Create Adjustment and Finish, and it'll be like nothing ever happened. You can move on knowing that from this point forward, every penny is accurate and accounted for. You will feel so good entering a new month knowing all your dollars are accounted for and you can trust your bank account balances in YNAB. You'll want to do this for all budget accounts, so your checking, your savings, any credit cards. Again, if you want to learn a little bit more about the reconciliation process in YNAB, I'll link a big old video down below detailing the whole process for you. Step 1, more like step done. Second step we want to take, make any adjustments we need to our available category balances in the current month. Listen, any normal spending plan run by a real human being is bound to have at least a little overspending at the end of the month. And if you're me, a lot of overspending. I will die $43 overspent in my groceries category. There's just no way that's not gonna happen. Rest assured, this is totally fine, but we do wanna take care of it before diving headfirst into next month. Starting with your categories, scan your spending plan for red. One easy way to do this is clicking the Overspent Focused View at the top. Red categories are overspent categories, and we always want to cover overspending. It's mandatory. If something is red in our spending plan, that means we can't trust the green in our spending plan either, as this overspending is going to have to be dealt with from some of the money we currently have assigned somewhere else in the spending plan. See how that works? My first course of action would be to look for lower priority categories that seem to have a little more than they really need, and move that money into my red categories that need it way more right now. I personally can often find extra money hanging out in my utilities categories after their bills are paid, since I tend to overfund these variable expenses out of caution. Sometimes I borrow from haircuts or hospitality, gasoline, gifts, household goods. If you have unassigned money available and ready to assign, you can also cover overspending from here. Second, once all the red in your categories has been covered, look for yellow, specifically negative yellow with a credit card icon. Now, yellow with the credit card icon represents credit card overspending. Any negative yellow credit card amounts represent dollars that are missing from our credit card payment category, and assigning money to this spending category to cover this overspending will move that money up to your credit card payment category. If you tend to treat your credit cards like debit cards, always paying your card off in full every month, make sure to cover that yellow. If you've properly covered all credit card overspending in your spending plan, your credit card payment category should be green, and you can be assured you're on track to pay off that credit card in full. However, if money's tight and you're carrying a balance on this credit card because you don't have any extra wiggle room in the spending plan to cover this overspending, you can leave the yellow overspent. Any credit card overspending in the current month does increase what you owe on the card, but we'll make sure you have a plan to pay that down in the new month. Third, make sure Ready to Assign isn't negative. If this number is negative, that means you've assigned more dollars than you really have. Fix this by clicking Fix This and unassigning money from one or a handful of categories until you reach zero again. Now here's a fun little trick I actually just learned that you can do here before clicking into the next month, or as a way of helping you find extra money to cover overspending in the current month. Select any categories or category groups whose available total you don't want to roll into the next month, as well as any overspent categories you still have. Clicking Reset Available Amounts will take all the unspent available dollars in these categories, first using them to cover any remaining overspent categories, and then sending whatever dollars might be left over back up to Ready to Assign, where you can then divvy them back out to the various categories in the current month, or use as a little boost to take with you into funding the next month. Now, that's it for the current month. Accounts are updated and categories are adjusted to cover all overspending, scraping up any lingering dollars to reprioritize to other categories or take with us into the next month. So now step 3 has arrived and we are officially living in the future month. Time to make any adjustments we need to this new month. Now that we've entered the future month, we can expect to see a few things. First, any available money left over in the current month will roll over into that same category for the next month. Second, the assigned column will reset to $0, unless of course you've already assigned money out to this future month's category in a past month, which I do all the time. And third, once the first of the new month hits, all of your weekly and monthly targets will recalculate what they need or no longer need to reach your goals. If you have a refill up to target set on this category, that rolled over money will be applied toward next month's target once the first of the new month hits. If you have a set aside another target applied to this category, the rolled over money won't count toward reaching your target, and the category will still expect you to fund the target in full in the future month. Since our accounts have all been freshly reconciled, we can happily trust that they're in good standing for the start of the month. And since we covered all of our overspending last month, we shouldn't be seeing any red out in the spending plan either. But just curious, what would have happened if we didn't cover all our overspending last month? Let's say I left one category $100 overspent last month. YNAB can't leave this overspending undealt with. That's money you spent that you didn't actually have to spend in that category. YNAB remedies this situation by removing $100 from ready to assign in the next month to make up for the $100 of overspending in the previous month. That may cause ready to assign in the new month to go negative, and if it does, don't panic. We can easily fix this by unassigning some money in this new month to bring our ready to assign number back up to an even happy 0. Now, it's worth noting that once we start to assign money out in the new month, we don't recommend making any changes in the previous month. It may seem harmless and even responsible, we see your heart, but making a change in the last month has quite the cascade effect on the current month. If you move money around in the past, you are by default moving money around in the present and even in the future as well if you have money assigned in future months. If you've already started assigning and spending money in the new month, it's best to just leave the past in the past and let YNAB cover any left behind overspending on its own. Trust me. It's also a good idea at this point to check in on your credit cards and make sure they're on track. If you left any credit overspending uncovered in the last month, your credit card payment categories will be short and you can assign money directly to this category to cover that overspending. If you're someone who likes to pay the card off in full each month, assign money to this category until it's green again. Or if you can't swing paying the card off in full right now, set a pay it off over time target to this credit card payment category to help you eventually knock out that debt over time. If you have any money sitting and ready to assign, or you just got a shiny new first of the month paycheck to add, assign all that money out to the new month's plan, starting with highest priorities first and working your way down to the less important categories. Remember, you might not have enough to fund the whole month at once, and that's okay. Just fund what you can until the next paycheck arrives. If you have more than enough money to fund the whole month and you still have money left and ready to assign, ask yourself, what's important to me that this money can do for me? You can totally click into the next month and start funding those categories, which is what I like to do. I know plenty of other people who prefer to create a next month holding category and drop whatever's left in here. When the new month comes, they move this money back up to ready to assign, hop into the next month, and divvy it back out to all their categories in the new month. Or, how's your wish farm looking? Could you use some of this money to water your goals? Put a little extra money toward that new e-bike you're saving up for, or dump it all into a celebratory baby moon trip for you and your partner? So many options. Listen, your money is your money, so do with it whatever gets you closer to what matters most to you. And that might look totally different today than it will 3 months from now. But that's just the beauty of personal finance. At this point, it's a great idea to scan over the available amounts for all your categories and make sure they reflect your priorities until the next time you get paid. Do you have all you want in groceries? If you think you're gonna need more gas money this month, could you maybe defund that Netflix category that's not charged for 3 more weeks and top it back off with your next paycheck that's coming just 2 weeks from now? It's all about just asking yourself, what do I really need this money to do for me before I'm paid again? You can always shuffle those dollars around throughout the month as priorities change too. And in fact, yeah, you will, I guarantee it. And that is the monthly rollover. I 100% got into the nitty-gritty, touching on a handful of tricks and things to look out for, but when you really think about it, it's simple. Get those transactions entered, cover overspending in the current month, and reevaluate your priorities in the next month. 3 things you're doing all the time anyway. please do share any other tips you have to a YNABer experiencing their first monthly rollover. What were the things you were totally overthinking the first time? What tips have you learned along the way? Sharing is caring. Yeah. I deeply hope you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. You've survived another month. Okay, you've survived another month. No, you've survived another month. Nope, don't like it. I just need to like not care. That's the key. The key is always not caring. This began a word. It is, Shirley. I have a weird job. Okay, how about that? How about that? I got it. I can read. I can totally read. This is my hand shape of the day. Do this, do that. Would-do, would-do. Why? What is happening? What? I feel like I have like maple syrup essence in my throat and it's making it hard to talk. Be done, be done. I just like, what the frick are these?